All
Hi
right.
guys. Oh,
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another fabulous match of Hollow Knight All Skills. Today we have a 1-2-2 match between 1-2-2-1 match, 1-2-2 match, 1-2-2-1 match between WaterWithFlavor and Cerpin. Sure to be a good one. We're in the fourth round at this point, so there's been a lot going on so far. My name is Herm. I'll be commentating for you today, and joining me on the mic is my dear friend Virgil.
hello. This is another Herm and Virgil one, and as Herm has mentioned before, this will be definitely very exciting to see as both Water and Serpent are pretty good runners, and their time has improved at least from the beginning of the tournament. So this will be very exciting. And just as one of the commentators, I'm gonna put it out here and say that fingers crossed I don't curse anyone.
Yes, we'll be hoping for the best, and this will be very much an exciting race considering that the personal best of these runners are within about a minute of each other. Water's PB is 55.42 and Serp's PB is 54.52, so it's about a 50-second difference, but as we've seen in many previous races, anything can happen in this tournament, and 50 seconds is not something that guarantees a win for the person with the faster time here. So expect a really exciting race. Honestly, both of these runners have expressed that they have a lot of time that they feel they can drop between their sum of bests and their best time. So I think that, yeah, we could be in for some really cool racing here. Hopefully we'll get some HK glods on both sides and have a great time. And Virgil should be counting them down soon.
Yep, I will do that. Wait, okay. Water says he needs 1 more minute, so we'll just.
So that is just fine.
Yes.
Can go over the few housekeeping things. Patch 1221, it's our speedy patch. It lets us do things like lever skips and inventory drops that we'll be pointing out along the way. We also run the game in simplified Chinese, which makes text scroll fastest. Also happens to be a language Virgil is fluent in. So if you ever need a little translation, she's there for you.
Yes. And okay, seems like both runners are ready, so I will be counting them down at this moment.
Excellent. And yeah, I mean, it's a really great time. We are coming towards the close of our Swiss rounds. There are 5 Swiss rounds, so after this, we'll have one more, and then the top 16 runners will be going into the playoffs. And Jen Karaski in chat, we absolutely have knock jokes ready. Never could we fail to prepare such beautiful things for all of you.
And just the knock jokes, as always, are contributed by our lovely Storm. Don't know if they are in the chat, but if you ever see them, just say thank you for the knock jokes.
Yes.
The runners should be starting shortly. Just a bit off stream lag, I believe. Unless my message just didn't go through, in which case that would be interesting.
I think you're good and people should be, yeah, everything is fine. We're just waiting for that stream delay here. It looks like both runners will be starting off quite shortly. So yeah, and then you'll see right away, we pause to get that early control, and then we inventory drop, which allows us to uncap our fall speed and cancel that hard fall animation. So it's real nice on both accounts. And so now we're going to be going through King's Pass, the first little section of the game, about a minute long in total, usually a bit shorter, but it's sort of just this tutorial section. We'll be hopping around, and then when they reach the door out of King's Pass, we'll tell our first knock.
As you can see, both runners are quite skilled. King's Pass, or KP as people call it sometimes, is definitely one of the optimized areas, and looks like we had a sink there. So Water and Serpent are literally neck and neck when they arrive at this first door. Herm, do you want to start us off with the first stroke?
Yes. Nosk.
Who's there?
Me.
Oh no, not Nosk, not the.
And just imagine the Nosk music starts playing. Credits to Lauren as always, but shout out to the ever creepy boss Nosk for looking like you until it really stops looking like you. and to Slorin as always. But now we're going to be heading down that well into the Forgotten Crossroads. This is probably, well, in any speedrun, we're going to be going and getting Vengeful Spirit. Almost all speedruns do this. This is pretty much one of the most practiced segments in the run. Super, super optimized. But we'll be seeing some RNG here as they drop through this room. Looks like no hits for Cerp, and none for Water as well. So a really good start for both runners.
You know, Herb, when it comes to Nosk, we don't know about it. You know, maybe the knight will hit a gross spur. We're not judging people who have just randomly decided to grow long limbs. And anyways, here on Cerpin's screen and on Water's, we see them use the spike from the ceiling to kill the aspids. Looks like Cerpin got one and Water got both. Pretty efficient on both runners' parts.
Yeah, so you're aiming, it's a double spike kill, and that you want to kill both. Looks like Cerpin also took a bit of a hit there. You're looking to get two. If you don't, it's not the end of the world, though it can actually be somewhat of a mental thing, as a lot of runners will just reset after missing double spike there, because it's just not a good feeling. But hopefully Cerp will be able to sort of just continue on through this VS split, and now we're going to go beat up False Knight, but only for a little bit.
Flash Pie in the chat, I'm so sorry, you were about 3 seconds late. But fear not, because we will have another knock knock joke ready at the Abyss door. But yeah, or someone can clip it. That is...
Yeah, so we're going to be heading up to False Knight right now. So what we're going to be doing here is it's going to take 13 hits to stagger them in their armor, and then it's going to take an additional 8 hits on their head to make them get back up again, at which point we will be using a Devon-headed skip out of this fight by breaking the door and heading straight down, because we don't need City Crest. We get to right side via a Shade Skip, and we don't really care about the Geo here. We have other sources of Geo. So as you can see, Water and Cerp will both do shortly, breaking this door to head over to the Ancestral Mound.
Term has mentioned, we are running for all skills, but the all skills category isn't that geo dependent as some of the other categories are, because we will not be buying the lantern from Sly, and because we do not support capitalism here. So the runners don't need as much geo, but coming up there's still going to be a few geo collection spots as we get the skills from our lovely nail masters, and Herm and I will be pointing those out as we go along.
Yeah, it is true that there is a rather large geo dependency early on in this run that is a bit different in that we need to have 800 geo to get scammed by Oro quite early on. We need a dash slash for our 1221 lever skips. And so we're going to be going to other sources, though. It is just much faster to go get some geo from Moss Knights and the Gorgeous Husk in City and a few other sources along the way. And it looks like Water is about 3 seconds ahead at the Vengeful Spirit split. Thank you so much, as always, for Rixian for being an iconic timer and apparently timing multiple races at once here.
Oh wow, we really do support Rixian, and I see Cerpin there used a fireball to break open the doors. That isn't usually something people go for, but it's really interesting to see her choose for that strategy. And Herm and I know that Cerpin will be executing a few special skips here, and it will be really interesting to watch her do.
Yes, and it looks like Cerpin was for a moment getting some spits from that boulder. It can be kind of to a meme degree how often that boulder can just give you an infection spit and not the little boulder you need to get the soul for the final fireball. I think the tournament record is something on the order of 11 spits, despite the fact it's a 50% chance. But the good news is, on this patch, we just sort of get to use our cowardice to go past the second boulder with only one fireball from off screen, and that's what we'll be seeing. Water, grab the soul for right here.
And now that the players have Vengeful Spirit, as Herm has mentioned, there will be a few soul collecting tasks, as we will be using these Vengeful Spirit in later places to do a few skips. So something that's that casual players might not know, but it's really interesting in the speedrun category, as we see Water do here, is what's called a fireball skip. Oh, looks like Maybe water
I just think that he may have decided not to go for it. Though I'm not sure. Didn't seem to do the input on the VS, so yeah, unclear.
Cerp has taken a dunk, seems like, but she's got the fireball skip, and yeah, basically for fireball skips, using instead of just the regular focus button, quick cast, or a button that's, if you're a controller player, usually bound on your right, the thing that's above your right trigger, allows players to cast a fireball really quickly and stall themselves in the air quick enough so that they can make a little bit longer of a distance and propel themselves forward. As we see Water execute here.
So Water has missed both fireball skips, so they're about 10 seconds, 13 seconds apart going into green path, 10-second differential made up, probably between that amount of boulder stuff, and Serp seemed to have a little bit of trouble with the second boulder, but this is, for Water, it does waste a lot of time to get that squit, though it seems Serp has to as well. That second fireball skip is the most important of the three in that while there is a backup, it is something that you really just, you need to do some sort of skip to get up there. It saves an immense amount of time. So with both of them missing, that time difference probably will stay similar, though it does seem that Serp had a bit less trouble, and Water got that that third fireball skip right there, no problem.
No, Serp. Seems like Serp is having a little bit of trouble with the third fireball skip. While Rixie in the chat has pointed out, the runners are about 10 seconds apart during their green path entrances, which means that the boulder spits that we have pointed out earlier cost Serp about 7 seconds, unfortunately.
Yeah, and Serp seems to be having a bit of trouble here. It may just be a bit of mental frustration, as she has had a bit of struggle, some enemies really going in places that she wouldn't like them to go. Did take a heal back there. We'll see how she chooses to, yeah, taking another heal here. Basically, you want to go into this fight with the Moss Knight with 8 or 9 soul, because you can kill it in 3 fireball hits and a nail hit. I believe Serp has 7 right now, so she will have to go for a few extra nail swings, but thankfully makes it through on 1 mask and will wisely take a heal as Water heads up to our famed all-skills Moss Knight.
And as we can see Water do here, there are 2 Moss Knights guarding a bunch of Geo Rocks, and looks like, did Water get the bad RNG for the Moss Knight where one of them kind of spawned off screen, so he had to tank a few damage and take a few hits while waiting for that one to get here?
I was not quite looking, but I believe he did.
Yeah. But it's okay, because everything is going rather smoothly now as Water heads into Hornet's fight and says hi to our lovely Spiderling. That yes. Hornet, where's Silksong? Where is Silksong, please?
I mean, in the end, why Silksong when you can have the beautiful experience of fighting Hornet 2 times in this run? Water will take a heal there. Good idea on his part. Hornet does have a fairly low stagger value on this patch, with it being 5. So we're just sort of all about bullying her into a corner. And it looks like it's going to be something on the order of 835-ish cloak from Water. Here's Serp's Hornet fight.
And as Water has just picked up Mothwing Cloak, as we can see, he is safe quitting back to the original bench, which was originally just automatically set for us at Ancestral Mounds as soon as we cleared the boulder. Wow, looks like Serp. That was a
little scary, but thankfully a deft slash from Serp allows us to move forward. She's gonna grab her cloak. It looks like looks like something in the range of a 30 to 40 second differential at this point. That being said, there is plenty of time, and Water did note to us in his interview that his early game is quite strong, and so he may be shining here, but also could have some trouble at later points in the run. Especially, he noted he has difficulty in Sanctum, which is a really tough split, as well as general city splits. So we could see things changing hands here for sure. This is definitely not a lost race in any regard.
as Rixian is still very skillfully keeping time in the chat. They're about 22 seconds apart, which really isn't a lot. And
Virgil,
movement...
I think you're 35 seconds apart because
oh, wait,
22 seconds
I can read.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Of course.
They're 35. As Herm has mentioned, they're 35 seconds apart. But now that the players have cloak, a lot of it in this section is going to be a lot of movement based and lots of inventory drops and dashing.
Yeah, this is a favorite section of many runners, as we just get to do some really cool movement in that we have dash but not claw. So we can hug walls. Yeah, Cerpin with the static slash there. We can hug walls without being attached to them, so we can sort of slide down them. And now we get to do the explosion pogo, which has many things. Yeah, people are mentioning Serp's static slash. That is, in a race, Serp did mention to us that her favorite thing to do this race would be to go for little swag strats. That would be bad to lose. So this is just an example of that from her, I suppose.
And I guess we kind of didn't get to mention Water's E-Pogo and Mantis Pogo there, but as you can see from Surf's screen, she is currently performing the double damage tank. Looks like she's going for the strategy to bait the Spore Shroom and get the double damage, but not this time. Looks like Surf is having a little bit of trouble, but she's got this.
Yeah, unfortunately, it does seem like Serp may be a little bit demoralized by some early game difficulties, and that is absolutely a real problem that's very much worth mentioning, because when you're in a race setting and you can't just reset, it is difficult to feel like you want to keep going on, because, I mean, speedrunning involves a lot of resetting and going at things again, but Serp gets that E-Pogo, and we'll soldier on. Let's see how her Mantis Pogo goes right here. Yeah, really nice. So
let's try. Yes, Serp, if you are listening to the stream, I don't know if Serp is one with such habits, but as the commentary team, we have faith in you. You've got this.
Absolutely. We always cheer for our runners to have the best race they can, work towards that PB, get those HK globs, all of that stuff. Yeah, clean Mantis Pogo. And while the differential has reached over a minute, in the end, we're just gonna have to see how things continue to go as Water steps in to fight Gruz's mother. This Octo Bomb only has 95 hit points, so we can sort of kill her very quickly, and then we will need to clean up her children.
Such a graceful way to put it, Herm. But yes, Gruz's mother, after defeating the boss itself, spawns, I think, 8 Gruzzers, and the runners will have to use their remaining 2 fireballs to do a swift cleanup, which Water just demonstrated pretty beautifully.
Yes, absolutely. And now we're going to be buying our Shaman Stone from Salubra at the cost of 220 Geo. This charm is the only one we use in the run. It is our bread and butter. It will absolutely buff up all of our spells to a degree that is simply too good to ignore. And now Water is going to take an intentional death. This is peak play, despite how terrible it may seem, from Water. And we're going to shade skip to the blue lake as, yeah, here's Serpin's Gruz's mother fight.
Looks like Cerpin is going for the swag strats once again by riding on top of Gruz's mother. And Water gets the blue lake skip no problem, while Serp is getting ready for their cleanup. Oh, Herm, remember when we said, is water wet?
Gosh. Water is wet. We realized that with Water in our commentary, as one of the runners we are commentating, this discussion would inevitably come up. Virgil and I thankfully both agree that Water is wet, because that could turn into quite the tough debate if we had a disagreement.
Indeed. And as Water is now out of the big bath pool that is Blue Lake, we're heading down into the right side of city, where we will gladly give a visit to, a few rich citizens of the underworld and just ask them to lend us some cash because we will be purchasing the nail art from the nail master and getting scammed out of 800 geo very soon, as Herm has mentioned before.
Yeah, and really nice shade skip from Cerpin over on the other screen. So she is on her stuff right now. We'll head across the Blue Lake as well. It's very clear her execution has been quite good in this segment. So the difference did expand another 9 seconds, but overall, I mean, people mentioned that Water had an insane cleanup of the Gruz children. So just some things. I mean, Water has been playing very well. We can't ignore that. It is quite true. And I mean, he has mentioned that he's been in need of a PB for quite a while, and so who knows? Now he's heading up to the Gorgeous Husk, which is a split he has admitted that is difficult to him.
Yeah, so now we're visiting the Gorgeous Husk in the city. Here, the runners just want to use our lovely newly upgraded Vengeful Spirit, which we just upgraded with Shaman Stone, and push Gorgeous Husk around a little bit so that we can get all the dank 420 geo that they have stored on them.
Yeah, there's a pretty specific damage rotation there, and then as you see Water, we're essentially like that whole Gorgeous Husk rotation apart, in that we bench at King Station so we can quit out there, and now we're going to be heading into the Kingdom's Edge. Let's see how Water is on Geo here. 724, so he will need to grab a good few rows of hoppers. As those hoppers, thankfully, they're pretty easy to farm, at least the first row, in that they drop 16 Geo apiece, and we can sort of go at them. But in the second row, we do have to deal with some Primal Aspids chasing us, which is less than fun. So we'll be going to 800 Geo, plus a little bit more, just for extra as we seek that dash slash from Nailmaster Oro.
Yep, and looks like Cerpin has got her own 420 Geo as well, so she'll be going through the route that Water is going through very quickly, and seems like Water is having a little bit of trouble with the Primal Aspids, but thankfully those things are behind us now, and personally Primal Aspids might be my worst, the least favorite enemies of mine, so yeah.
Yeah, for me it will always be the Mantis Petra, which we will see later in the game, but we'll have enough damage to absolutely demolish them. But they are certainly up there, and in the end, we're quitting right out after this back to the King Station bench, so really, as long as we show up at Oro's place alive, there's not too much to complain about. They appear to be about one Kingdom's Edge apart at this point.
Yes, and no bow from Water, but it's okay. Understandable.
But understandable, certainly. So yeah, Cerp is going to be just fine on Geo here. 809, somewhat lower than what Water had, but not by too much, and we're going to be getting plenty of Geo along the way as we head up, because we're going to be going to Soul Sanctum, and then grabbing our Desolate Dive, and then from there we'll need another 300 Geo to get King's Station opened up. But for now, we're fine. We're more just focused on moving up through the Watcher's Spire to get to the left side of City.
This is a speedrun, which means no skills will be wasted. Water will be demonstrating the lovely glitch, or the reason why runners do play on 1221 patch here, which is we get to hit many levers through walls using our newly upgraded dash slash, as well as just, you know, regular lever skips. And looks like Water is grabbing a safety bench here after getting that lever, which is completely understandable. As we are
understandable. If you're on the order of being close to getting a PB, if you're not close enough to getting a PB, or you're just worried and you feel like I'm ahead, I've got this. I mean, that being said, Cerp did make up 4 seconds. They're still about a minute and a quarter apart, but Cerp is on the up and up. But for Water, who has admitted to being quite scared of Soul Sanctum, or at least had trouble with it in his previous races, it is an absolutely wise thing to do. And we would take that bench earlier, however, we will have to deal with in all skills several hard saves, Desolate Dive being one of them. But we will be benching at Watcher Spire after the Soul Sanctum split, so as to quit out back there once we're done in Crystal Peaks, and that's a very important bench for us to take, but later on. And now you're going to be seeing Water heading up to get Shade Soul.
Here we can see Water using that dash slash to get across the doors and essentially helping 1-2-1 runners skip a huge part of the hassles of getting Shade Soul, because on current patch, which commendable to CP players, people have to save slide, grab his Elegant Key from the peaks, and then use money to purchase Elegant Key and fight a boss. That seems like a lot.
Yeah, Jenkarf pointing out that very swaggy sort of slide by Surf between the sentry and the door. That was a little scary, but she's been pulling this off just great, and we'll grab her Shade Soul as well. So now you're going to watch, first of all, you'll see this nice little lever through the wall, and now you're going to watch that Shade Soul in action as we fight this Soul Warrior, which has, I believe, either 180 or 200 hit points, and you're going to be looking for some double hits here. You'll see Water just got one of them, and that will do 80 damage, which is absolutely massive. And as Water goes up to fight Soul Master, you're going to watch as an early game boss gets very much destroyed by late game weaponry. Water does seem to already be having a bit of trouble. Those Soul Twisters can teleport right into you and be very annoying as enemies overall.
Ooh, yeah, looks like Water's going for a safer strat by just flat out killing the Soul Twisters, and but yeah, as Herm has demonstrated her lovely Wikipedia knowledge on all of the enemy health and everything, these bosses will be not easy peasy, but at least pretty weak compared to the power of our Shade Souls.
Yes, and it looks like no time gained or lost on that Shade Soul split. I would estimate that Serp will make up some time in the Soul Sanctum. It does seem to be somewhat cleaner for her overall, and we'll see how that Soul Master fight goes for both of them. There is a quick kill on Soul Master, but you need pretty good RNG, and that dive attack will not do it. You need to get 6 nail hits in pretty quick, but it does seem like Soul Master is being not the nicest to Water so far, but still will die relatively quickly as Serp heads into the Soul Master fight, so it does seem like that gap is narrowing somewhat.
One phase of a Soul Master fight apart, but it's also interesting to note that the two timers are about also 20 seconds apart, because we are using a load normalizer to make sure that the time between each rune transition isn't counted, so that computer, like whether or not the runners have a good computer comes in.
Yeah, and while we do have a load normalizer, unfortunately, PC differences still definitely exist, and some folks just have longer loads. So yeah, that was a pretty good first phase from Serp. We'll see how this second phase goes for her. Soul Master only has, I believe, around 100 health in this phase, so once you get him to stop diving all over the place, he is not too much of a bother, but until then, yeah, Serp is able to get him down at that point. So, bit of trouble in the second phase, but absolutely able to hang out and grab that dive, which you can see from Water right now will be exiting Soul Sanctum as quickly as possible, because we have places to go.
And as Herm has mentioned before, our next destination on the trip through All Skilled Hollow Nest is grabbing King Station and then heading into Peaks, which means that Water and Serp will be needing a bit more geo for that 300 to unlock the stack station. And as Water is heading back into King Station from the hard save that Desolate Dive gave the runners, we'll see him kill a couple of rows of enemies with Dive as well as Shade Soul, and get himself hopefully up to that 300 mark.
Yeah, and So a few important things to note here. First of all, Rixine pointing out that Cerp made up 20 seconds just in Sanctum. That is, first of
Oh,
all,
wow.
very impressive play from her. And yeah, just, I mean, you can see it. You can see where those time saves are. She took fewer hits. She had a really clean first phase in Soulmaster. So Serp is on the up and up here for sure. But another important thing to note is that Water is really good on Geo right now. While that killing of a Soul Twister was definitely a safety strat, Soul Twisters also dropped 25 Geo. And so for that reason, they're really not a bad Geo source at all. And Water will be going and taking that bench at Waterspire and will not really have to worry about getting many husks because Serp only has around 240 Geo right now and is going to have to kill substantially more enemies. So that Geo is not to be ignored because Serp is just going to have to do a lot more in this King Station split.
And it looks like Water definitely knows that he is a little bit ahead as he opted not to kill some of these enemies here and just going straight for the King Station. And yeah, as Herm has pointed out, Water has already benched at Watcher Spires and Cerpin is doing that at this moment. And this marks the start of one of the hardest section of this run in my opinion, because the runners will be heading into Crystal Peaks and there will be no bench saves or natural healing until we obtain all the skills we need and then we're back to Watcher Spires.
Yeah. As Virgil noted, this is, as we like to say, one of the most difficult places to die in the run, and that is because with the only bench being at Waterspire, there is very little leeway for us to Serp just grabbing that Geo. Almost there, yeah, she's got it. There's no leeway, and also it's important to think about the ways we need to manage health in C peaks because the very last thing we're going to be doing in this split is damage tanking, where we want to do an early control when we grab Descending Dark, and so for that reason, we're going to be diving into some spikes, and you can't have 1 health for doing that. So it's going to be important to manage health all the way here. You'll see Serp taking a heal right away because with C peaks being so cycle-based, taking a heal is oftentimes quite detrimental because you don't want to get off cycle in any circumstances.
As Water is heading to the C Peaks entrance, we will get a slight peek at one of the lovely characters in this game, Myla, as you can see right down there at the bottom. Fingers crossed, no Myla killings today, but this is just a commentary team regularly scheduled announcement that Myla is cute, and also Chad is very cute as well.
Yes, for sure. And you'll see Rixian, Chad is now wondering if they're secretly a bot, or Rixian seems to prefer proprietary. 10 seconds were added to the gap between these runners at the King Station split, and that is pretty much due to the fact that Serp had to deal with a lot of Geo collection that Water did not, but also the fact that it was only, there's a missed Fog Axe from Water. That's just a little swag strat we go for sometimes. Contrary to popular belief, was not invented by Axe2U. But that gap did widen a little bit because of that.
But yeah, they're still about 1 minute apart, which is still anyone's game, and as Water, I don't think Water is going for the Pog Axe, no, sorry, not Pog Axe, the God Cycle in this room, and that is perfectly understandable. And yeah, as Herm has mentioned before, C Peaks is very cycle-based. Looks like Water didn't quite make the cycle there, tanking a little bit of damage, and Serp just opted not to go for the Pog Axe, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, the Pog Axe saves a very slight amount of time, but looks cool, and in the end, going around is somewhat faster than missing, I believe, and so, yeah, it just does not make as much sense if you don't feel like your Pog Axing is on point that day, or you just prefer not to do so. But we're going to see Water enter the Crystal Heart platforming room. This room has 2 cycles, Damage Tank and Damageless. Damage Tank is fairly faster, but also involves taking damage. And so we'll see which one Water goes for here. It does look like taking the Damage Tank cycle. This is just a room you hope to see the underplat. You don't want to fall. If you fall, you get off Cyclone. That is no fun. But we do see an underplat woo. Yeah, Cerpin with the impressive sort of right side hopping up. That's a newer strat. Doing it without taking damage, which Water did. So really showing some mastery or some very cool strats here.
And something we can mention as well is, as you see Cerp perform there, she used the dash slash to stall herself in the air quick enough to get a second dash in. Something we haven't mentioned, but is kind of cool when you think about it, is that if you have dash and you dash off a platform, the game actually automatically gives you a second dash in mid-air. So that's how we see these runners perform some very zoomy moves, and that was a really clean room for Cerp getting the crystal dash.
Yeah, really good work from Cerp. Water having to wait a bit for those crushers, obviously no blame at all. A very difficult section, but it seems Cerp has made up another 13 seconds in Crystal Peak. So this is quite impressive, and also with Water taking a fall there and not handling everything quite so well, we'll see how this dark room goes for him. We'll do the C-dash dark room. It is slower than the dash only dark room, but it is a lot safer, as without lantern we can only see the little ghost, so we have to sort of work through everything. Does take a hit of damage. That is not something you love to see, simply because heading into Mound, this is where we're going to do this damage tank, and it looks like we'll see if Water decides to take a heal here.
Nice. It looks like Cerpin is opting for the dash only dark room strategy and does it flawlessly. So yeah, if both runners execute the rest of this part perfectly, I believe Cerpin will be making up a little bit more time.
Yes, and Rixia noting that Water's choices to heal at various points within the segment did lose him some time, and that is certainly true. Overall healing, while a wonderful thing, and a loved part of this game's sort of tool set, is definitely a time loss in any situation. And so Cerp gets through Mound cleanly on 2 health. We'll be able to do that early control easily. We don't really have to worry. Oh, looks like there's a bit of mess up that first time, but all good. We don't really have to worry about being on 1 mask going into this next segment, because we end up in a dream cutscene where health is no matter, and then we quit out after that.
Yep. Both runners survived C peaks on roughly 1 to 2 HP, but that is still a very, very impressive success. And in this dream sequence, which Water is going through, and Cerpin will be joining him soon, there is another tiny underplat, so we are hoping to see that from both runners today as well.
Yes, and it looks like the time gap closed another 10 seconds. So Cerp is really making a comeback here. This has just been downright impressive play from her the whole way since she entered City. It's really clear that she has been able to overcome those nerves or sort of frustrations that may have been difficulties in her first few splits. So she's really going for it here. Yeah, this race is getting quite hype, if I do say so myself.
Yes,
there's the little underplat.
Woo for the underplats. And as Lashman is pointing out in chat, Cerpin excuse me for the pun, but do you mean that Cerpin is certainly on a hunt for the first spot?
Virgil, I'm gonna need you to apologize for that one.
I'm sorry. I will see myself out. I will banish myself from the community.
So there's Dreamnail for both. We don't say hi to the Seer, we kind of just ignore her. Dreamgate and Awoken Dreamnail are not skills, so we'll really never be seeing the Seer again. We're fighting any Dream bosses. But now we get to fight the very exciting, roly-poly, all sorts of scrolly Water Knights.
And as Glove is asking in the chat, Cerp, had a bad early game and a little bit of RNG not on her side as well, as she got a few more spits on the borders, which might have made her a little bit nervous, but seems like both runners are now have their head in the game and are ready to face the Water Knights.
Yeah, unfortunate from water. Normally you like to break that breakable wall with a Shade Soul because spells will break breakable walls instantly. Does have to hit it, so that will be somewhat of a time loss. Going into this fight, we can Dream Nail the Watcher Knights for soul. Even before the fight, their bodies are just sort of available for us to absorb their essence. And you'll see, using that Descending Dark here, these little Watcher Knights will die in about 2 and 3/4 speed arcs. And you want the RNG that you can see Water has right now. You don't want them rolling. You want them just slashing right on top of you, waiting for you to use the gratuitous iframes of Descending Dark to demolish them.
Yep. So Water got a pretty good first set of Watcher Knights. The second
Now there's
set,
some bullying.
yeah.
Yeah.
You hate to see it when Watcher Knights are not respecting the race setting of this game.
Yeah, a little bit
like...
scary. In the end, the Watcher Knight's fight is one that involves careful damage taking. So despite the fact that it is much easier than, say, an any percent or low percent Watcher Knight's fight, it is quite available to die at a given point. And you can see Water had some struggles there while Cerp seemed to have a pretty good fight. So that is good news for her comeback. But yeah, the Watcher Knights are no joke, especially just given the ways they can kind of troll you a little bit with even with your iframes and your massive damage. I got great sync right now, even with the PC stuff. It is quite wonderful.
Indeed. So yeah, this is our first Dreamer. The Watcher on top of their Lonely Spire, which is definitely mysterious, interesting, and also just like, how did everyone get up there? Well, actually, the Watcher is at least fine in the way that they do have an elevator, but sometimes I just wonder how NPCs get to the point where they are, because unless they have wall climb, I don't think a lot of them can make it to the places where those can be at.
Yeah, that is quite fair. I mean, for example, I mean you look at Monomon in that test tube and wow, okay, brief thing from Rixian, it looks like Serp has made up another 17 seconds. So this comeback is real. They are within 23 seconds of each other right now. Heading into those Isma skips, and Water has remarked that Ismas to Umu is a very strong segment of the run for him. But we're just gonna have to see, as this has been an excellent combat section for Serp with the Watcher Knights, and just an excellent part of the run overall. And yeah, I mean, in terms of things getting where they are, Monomon in that test tube, it really makes you wonder how the archives are so small if she is that tall. It is quite odd.
Yeah.
So now we're heading into one of what is regarded as the more difficult sections of the run, especially from a learning perspective. These are the Isma skips. So first of all, and you'll see Serp attempt this in just a moment, we'll see the spike tunnel to get into Isma's Grove. She gets it second try. That is very good. And then we're going to be performing 2 acid skips to get around. And it looks like Water got its second try as well.
Lots of swimming in the acid and just a random piece of, I don't know, shower thought with Virgil. Do you think if, like, after an all-skill run, and if you talk to Down Defender afterwards, will Down Defender get mad because he made up such a intricate, acid protective area to protect his lover Ismas, and then the knight just went like, nah, I'm just gonna, acid skip through everything. Crystal Dash is my best friend.
Yeah, I think the Dung Defender would be quite confused if he met an all-skills runner, simply because they have no regard for him or any of his things in his home. We just sort of bop right out of there, and you'll see Surf now heading into Basin. Water did have to deal with some dunks there, because, yeah, Genkar noting she will gain time on the split. Water having to deal with some dunks, and Surf getting good Basin RNG, which you really love to see. Sometimes those enemies can bully the heck out of you. And so, yeah, now we're going to be going to Basin, fighting the Broken Vessel, and getting our Monarch Wings. Yeah, they are even now. They are 0 seconds apart.
Oh, wow.
Holy cow.
Wait, I'm not sure
Quite the hype.
I'm not sure if our Speed Gaming volunteer is still here. If you're here, may we have a sync? Or
Yeah, and if not, it's totally fine. We will enjoy this race nonetheless, but boy, is this quite exciting. I mean, I would just like to shout out Serp right here. She just came back from a deficit of well over a minute. I think at its peak, it was quite close to a minute 15, minute 20. And so yeah, this has been incredible play from Serp. I'm hoping these are some HK glods for her because she certainly deserves them. And yeah, they're both going to be heading towards Broken Vessel now. We'll see how this fight goes.
yeah, and I guess meanwhile, when we don't have the stream sync yet, I'm just gonna switch the audio quickly to Serpins for now, so that
Yeah.
we can. And
Ergo
will
is asking if we could just. Virgil, do you have like the sort of manager thing up? Could you hit the ask for help? Maybe we can get somebody in here to do a sync.
Yeah. I am contacting them now.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so yes, Serp seems to get the base and skip, which is really nice. That's just like a little bit of movement that is quite helpful in getting us hopped up. And now we're going to be fighting Broken Vessel. Only has 525 health, but also can be an absolute bully, as I like to say. They've got hops. They are quite capable of jumping right into you and having a fun time. So
very fierce, but also, as I have sort of used this joke before, Broken Vessel, they want to show us that they have this fancy ability to dash into the ground and, make dark orange blobs come out of them and hit us with the infections. But as the runners, we kind of show Broken Vessel who is boss by repeatedly descending dark into them and being like, our descending dark is better. It looks like we just got a sync, so thank you so much.
We got a sync. Thank you for the fabulous sync, Speed Gaming. Yeah, Serp, real Monka's moment right there. As she sort of goes on one mask against Broken Vessel. I did not want to mention it, but in an earlier race, I do believe I commentated her dying to Broken Vessel, but I decided to keep my mouth shut for the sake of Calm's curse. And picks up those wings. And now that we are so beautifully synced, we will be able to see this in action. I'm really excited. Thank you so much, Speed Gaming.
Yes.
And so it looks like they're something on the order of 10 seconds apart at wings. So Serp has really continued to make up time. She is 18 seconds apart. So she's on a tear right now as they head into Hornet 2, which is a pretty scary split. I really doubt at this point with the race being this close, either of the runners will take the safety bench. And that does mean that you just sort of get flopped right back to a stag station or base and toll if you do not head over there. So it is quite the split. Hopefully this fight will go well for both of them and we will not see any sort of issues.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I'm thinking no benches as well. And as I am so sorry, I forgot who told me this, but someone has mentioned before that benches are an illusion. So we here in the Holodeck community, we do not believe that benches are real. We think they are just a myth where you're tricking players into losing time. So maybe we'll see some no benches.
Yeah, and it looks like Serp has pulled over 90 seconds for herself here. Absolutely gaming. This is extremely admirable, and it really just shows how nothing is ever set in stone in this category or in speedrun racing. With just sort of turning on the gas and just going for it, as Cerpin has done, and hopefully we'll see her continue to do that going into this Hornet 2 fight. Because after that, we're heading around. We have a very nice quiet break with the Cyclone Slash split, and then down to Umu for some other fun stuff.
And yeah, welcome Rhino and Chomps. Looks like I hope your race went well, and yeah, so as Rixia mentioned in the chat, Serp hold like a 90-second save on the previous segment starting from Sanctum, and now the two runners are pretty much at the same pace.
Yes, so here's Hornet 2. An important thing to note, as you just saw on Serp's screen, is that she now has a parry attack. And this can be really, really annoying for runners in that Hornet 2, by some magical power of the Spider Queens or whatever she has brought to herself, can now parry our spells, which is infuriating. It's a waste of our time, our soul, our energy, everything. But Serp on one mask and has been getting a lot of parries. So hopefully she will continue to stick this out. We'll see if she chooses to take a heal or anything the like. I really doubt it simply because of the nature of this fight. You just want Hornet to die. Really little else to do with it. Okay, gets out on one mask. That was good, but really poor RNG, unfortunately, from Hornet there.
Yeah, a bit monkus and lots of Furies today. Looks like Water is going for a safety heal, definitely commendable.
Yeah, another sync, thank you.
Yep, and don't you just think, pardon, okay, this is kind of half a pun, that it's a half-baked pun, but, and I apologize to chat in advance. Don't you think that Hornet would not be like a good partner because you're pouring your soul into her and then she just rejects you with all the parries? Can you just imagine?
Wow, it's a good point, Virgil. And you'll see Water gets out of the fight on one mask as well. Both of them are likely playing it to the best of their ability at this point because boy do we have a race on our hands. Serp heading out, two very stressful Hornet fights as Kali in the chat is noting. And so yeah, now we're going to be heading towards probably a very quiet section of the run. I like to joke that if I ever started speedrunning, I would just grind Cyclone/ILs because it's just pure movement, lots of C-dashing. And it looks like Serp has made up another 13 seconds, widening the gap to 31 seconds here at the King's Brand split. So even with those difficulties, it seems like Water had more and she continued to play quite well. And yes, we have one more Knock Knock joke coming up at the Abyss store. I think Virgil and I are both realizing we picked a really good one for the context here.
As Herm has mentioned, this next area, the runners get to, slightly chillax after that stressful Hornet fight on both ends, and we get to retrace our step back to King's Brand. I mean, not King's Pass.
King's Brand, my favorite area of the game. I love going to the King's Brand.
I mean, who doesn't
King's
like
Brand people arrive.
Exactly. Even I have no idea why it's called King's Pass because it's like as far as away from the kingdom as possible, but that is a-okay, and we'll just be doing some slight parkours. Looks like Cerpin got the bad RNG, or I'm not even sure if it's called RNG, but when you crystal dash into a tick and then it decides to say, no, I'm going to stop you and make you take damage.
Yes, it is quite annoying.
Yeah, unfortunate, but this is pretty just movement-based area.
I'd like to say it's King's Pass because we pass on the king. We think he's kind of lame, kind of a weird dude, honestly. Had some interesting priorities, threw 4 million of his children to a pit. Like, I don't know, I would pass on talking to him or engaging with him in any sort of way. But thankfully, we do not pass on Nailmaster Motto here, who will give us a beautiful Cyclone Slash we're going to be using for some drops shortly.
Slash is interesting because it's not an ability that we use a lot in all skills combat, because to make it with no charm upgrades or like strength, which on a casual playthrough most people would equip, Cyclone Slash doesn't do that much damage compared to spells unless you land every single hit, which is kind of hard when some of the bosses are just flying around all over the place. However, it does uncap your full speed, as Cerpin is demonstrating here, and allows the knight to drop a little bit faster. So, stealing kind of Zero's joke here, but You know, this is just I believe someone from Team Cherry is originally from Australia, so I think they just got it really confused, and they thought that helicopters, go down instead of up. So this is Helicopter Knife, but the reverse version.
Yes, and it looks like um, water made up about 2 seconds on that split, so they're still about 30 seconds apart. We're just gonna have to see. Umu is an orange jellyfish if I've ever seen one. Umu can do very fun things like give you an extra attack because it really wants to keep you around, or you can miss one cycle with Umu, which is about an 18-second time loss. So that would really move things closer together. So we're just gonna have to see. The one cycle is pretty reliable unless you get an extra attack, and then it's pretty difficult to save. However, it can be very difficult in lots of different ways, and we have no idea what we're going to be seeing here.
For the teacher's archive room, I believe there's also like the what was it called? The damage tank versus damageless cycle, and looks like Surf tanked a damage there. And can I just say I am so glad both runners made it to teacher's archive, because on like my last two commentaries, I always somehow curse someone to die in the room next to teacher's archives.
Yes,
So
there is an excellent clip of Virgil saying, "I hope Chomps dies" in the room prior to teacher's archives, and just Zero says, "I can't believe you've said that. That's so mean," as Chomps takes a death. And oh wow, speak of taking a death. That is a death to Umu for Serp. Really, really unfortunate right there. Going in on 2 health in that fight is always risky, and unfortunately, she just dashed into Umu. That is likely going to swing things massively in Water's favor. Yeah, that was an unfortunate time to be talking about death. Yeah, we'll see how this one cycle goes for Water, I suppose. It looks like he will miss one cycle here. Really unfortunate, honestly, that he just sort of fell. So that will sort of lessen the gap, but the amount of time lost by a death to Umu is quite large, unfortunately. So.
yeah, I think.
Oh, and that's a
Water
missed 2 cycle. So
two cycle.
Water really struggling against Umu. In the end, as much as you hate to see it, I will not complain in that it does help keep the race close. And oh boy, Water is on one mask now. Does get out of there, so he will be fine, but yes. So there we go.
One Umu fight apart then.
Yeah.
We'll
see if Cirque gets this one cycle second time around. Looking somewhat better going into it with 3 masks instead of 2. And hopefully we'll just be able to not have that unlucky dash into Umu. But we will probably want to see a one cycle from Serp if she wants to stay in this substantially.
Know that also the two runners' timers are about 30 seconds apart, so some of it is the timer sync, and they might be a little bit closer than we think currently.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, a fun Spanish fact with Herm and Virgil. Virgil shouts, "Oh, that's a missed one cycle. Oh, that is quite unfortunate." And once again, Surf on one mask. And so Surf will lose about 18-19 seconds there. It's just, oh.
Please tell me Cerpin. I don't remember.
Oh, no, I don't think she did. Oh.
No.
Oh, this is, oh gosh. Surf just sort of walking now. Oh. That is, you really do hate to see it. And truthfully, like, it does go to show just how difficult Umu can be as a boss. It seems like one of those things that isn't the biggest of struggles, but it can really cause you some grief with the way that you go about it, the way you're setting up that one cycle. It is so precise. And so, unfortunately for Serp, this is a great moment of sadness. And we in the comms also express our sadness for Serp, but also it's important to commend her for how well she played up until this point, and I'm sure how well she will continue to play once she gives Uma the punch in the face it deserves.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, but I guess switching focus to Water Screen as he has successfully beaten the teacher, and we thank Water for beating the teacher for Serp. It is now the teacher is now currently common enemy number 1, and Water is going to be paying a visit to the last Nail Master in our run, saying hi to Shio and asking them for the lovely Great Slash, which in my personal opinion is the most useful one, because that's the one I used to one hit every single Colo enemy.
Yes, so Serp will take that. This is a safety bench from Serp. And yes, so we're going to be seeing Uma and then seeing Shio. Yeah, Serp really, you can see the knight's movement is emotive in this case. You can feel the sadness watching her go through this, and it is. I just feel I want to give Serp a hug right now, and I want to congratulate her on just her incredible play. And even though the RN jellyfish was a bully, I mean, still a commendable and incredible runner. And yeah, Water will grab his Great Slash, able to go through and do that. But let's all cheer Serp on a little bit as she fights Umu. This
Yes.
time, lots of help.
Holo D in chat for Serp, and looks like that is a 1 cycle. So
yes, so that is the execution that you did not see from Water beforehand as well. Serp does show the 1 cycle, and sort of walks out from archives. She seems still quite dismayed, and it's fair to say that. But we'll be able to go destroy science, hopefully with lots of anger. Yeah, an angry punch at the test tube. Get out of here.
Yeah.
I am done with you. Unfortunate hit from Water right there. Those Umas do not play.
They really don't, yeah. They're like little missiles following you around, and yeah, Water is going to be heading into the Queen's Gardens area and grabbing Shriek after an easy arena. I totally just forgot the name of Howling Wraith.
Wraith.
Yeah. Wraith. It's the Scream one. Yes, it's the lowercase A's. But yeah, on Water Screen, there's going to be semi-easy of an arena where all the squids, or as I like to call them, mesquites, takes 1 Shade Soul exactly to kill, and it's not going to be too much of a problem for him to clean this arena up.
Yeah, these folks have only 2 nail hits worth of health, so it is not a big deal for us at all. And there's Serp back on the warpath with that Cyclone Slush, dashing again, so she's bucked up to a degree. Just really, really unfortunate. We will be seeing, yeah.
Oh, I remember, yeah. Serp does want to do the left side, doesn't she?
Yeah, so Serp will be doing a left side diagonal archives exit. She mentioned to us before the race. I think that she may just sort of be, practicing the movement here, going through the motions, understanding that this is unfortunately not a close. Yeah, she says GG, so I think this is going to be a forfeit from Serp. And that's understandable. You know, it is unfortunate when these things happen, but in the end, if you don't feel like continuing onwards, that's perfectly acceptable. Looks like she just might do some archives movement practice here while we wait for Water to finish up. So, but seriously, incredible work by Serp. Massive respect to her, and incredible in all aspects. But there's Water doing a little thorn warp to get through that little gauntlet area without having to do actual platforming. And we'll just sort of go on to deeper into QG.
And I guess now focusing on water screen. As we are going through this room, you can see some of the enemies which are on Herm's #1 hit list, called Mantis Petras. Thankfully, we don't need to deal with them that much here, and we just kind of avoid them at all cost. And as Herm has mentioned, there is a few dark rooms ahead, which Water will have to navigate with his skill and muscle memory and nothing else, and maybe faith in the Radiance. And yeah, because we are heading towards to get Hera, and in all skills there is no lantern.
Yeah. So, Water saying something in the chat.
Oh
Yeah, so
no,
Water. Yeah, Serp has forfeited, but Water is foreshadowing death and deepness. Yikes.
Oh.
So yeah, these dark rooms, so the reason they are so painful is that you are respawned at the beginning of the room after taking a hit, and then all of the spikes have come out from under the floor. So unfortunately, with a bunch of enemies coming around, all these spiders, it is quite easy to take a death. And yeah, there you see it happening from Water, as you remarked in chat earlier. Wow, yeah, and unfortunately, you do also respawn at that bench in Teeter's Archives. So,
Could have been a Cerpin versus Water, both racing to Dark Deepness once again, but
yeah, but it's also understandable if you're not mentally in it, then, I mean, you should never feel obligated to continue. And so, in the end, Serp made her choice, and Water, I think, seems to be choosing to finish this out. So,
yes, so let's just follow Water as they move along this room. Wow, that was a near miss from one of the big jellies. Yeah, Water says in chat that he's gonna try to aim for finish, and we support you for this, Water. Good luck.
yeah. So we will be cheering Water on this whole way as he heads back into Deepness. We'll tackle those dark rooms again, give it a shot. And yeah, we'll be hoping for the best execution possible. It has been a crazy race on all fronts, and we'll be excited to see how it closes out.
Yeah, and for those that missed our first knock knock joke, we are still prepping our second one for the time when Water arrives at that abyss door and knocks it out full force. Herm, I think someone is asking in chat what the big jellies are called. I was wondering if you know,
because it's OOMA. Then the little ones are called like Uomas, which is UOMA. Yeah. You know, just knowing all the names. Yeah, they're Umas. So those are the heat-seeking ones. I used to farm them for Geo, and it was quite unfortunate.
Oh yeah,
not
farming
a good
those
for me.
Definitely a scary thing.
Yes. Happy to help, Abaru. Yeah, see, when I started my Hollow Knight playthrough, I played on Switch. I hadn't really played a video game more difficult than Breath of the Wild before. And I really didn't. I would die all the time and lose all my Geo all the time. So I just saw things that gave me 5 Geo, and I was like, this is great. They give me so much money. And I didn't really understand I had better because I just lost all my Geo constantly. Yeah.
I mean,
I gave up after a while. I found out I had better ideas. Yeah, I started playing in November of 2020. Yeah, a good friend introduced me to the game, and I've been here ever since.
And then Herm ignored me for. I'm kidding. Anyways, yeah, as Trump has remarked, the first time I found out that Herm was farming death for Geo, I mean, it is a very, it is a power move to say that, no, you die. It's like holding a Uno reverse card to the Umas and being like, no, you.
Yeah. I mean, it was the type of thing where I died so much already that it was worth it putting my life on the line for the 5 Geo those Umas dropped. Because boy, was there a lot of death in my Hollow Knight playthroughs.
To be
And
fair,
here's Distant Village, Water making it through those dark rooms. Very iconic from him. And we now get to use the nice shortcut into Beast Den. So unlike any percent, we don't have to sit on the trap bench and deal with a bunch of Beast Den movement. We just sort of get to hop up here, use the Devon-headed skip, and we're going upright towards Hera.
yeah, and to be fair, when I first started playing the game, I thought geos were extremely important as well, and I would actually just go through a room repeatedly and farm for geo. I didn't pick the Umas because I didn't even know how to get there, but it was just like some room in Dirt Mountain, and I just keep doing it. So I definitely feel that.
Yeah, I remember watching something and it's like Geo's not that important, and I was like, it's so important. I can't pay for the 120 Geo stag station. Like I really wanted to use the Bane, and then 100 Geo was too expensive because I kept dying before I could get 100 Geo. So, you know, these players are of a much higher caliber than that. They can hold on to their 250 Geo just fine as Water absorbs Hera, the final Dreamer, and will use that 250 Geo to get Distant Village stag, which is the last use of Geo in the game. And so he'll be able to scoot right out of there, and then we're going to be heading to the Abyss.
Yep, and yeah, that's all 3 Dreamers down, and as Herm has said, because this is all skills, we do still need to get the rest of the skills in the Abyss, or rather the upgraded versions, and yeah, as we see Water doing some anti-gravity helicopters here, we will be getting that last stack and saying goodbye to Hera and the entire Webster dictionary version of Hollow Knight. I don't know. I didn't prepare them.
Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, so we'll be heading to the Abyss, and thank you to the incredibly cute chat for shouting us out. Virgil and I have enjoyed learning this route and learning about this run beyond anything. It has brought us so much joy. We actually, we debate together in real life, so it's a good chance for us to practice our public speaking, I suppose. And it's a good time all around. And so we're heading towards the Abyss door, and that's gonna allow us to do our second knock knock joke. Okay, knock knock.
There.
Mistake.
Who?
Mistakes were made using Slorent's knock knock jokes. That is some self-deprecation from Slorent right there. We just wanted to put that one out there to say we strongly disagree. We would never make a mistake using Slorent's knock knock jokes. By the way, if you're ever interested, we are always looking for more jokes. Slorent gave us 26, but we are going through those kind of quickly. So we are going to probably be looking for some more jokes soon. So just send us a friend request, send us a DM. Water having a bit of difficulty with Abyss Climb here. It is kind of bad as those siblings do 2 mask damage, but hopefully we'll get through just fine. Yes, nice work. Yeah, Slorent is far too cute to make a mistake. I could not agree more.
Definitely, yes.
Yeah, he did. Okay, nice.
Yes, and as Herm has mentioned, we are real life debate partners, so something from debate. This house stands in affirmation that Slorent has never made a mistake with their jokes, and they are too cute to make such mistakes. Thank you for coming to our speech.
I don't really even think that's a debate. I think that's just a declarative statement. And here's Water is going to go have a spa day with the Void, and then quit out because apparently we don't have that much time for taking a spa day in speedruns. Surprise, surprise. And we will head out, and after quitting out, we end up back at this hard save, but it's just faster to avoid that cutscene, and we're gonna be heading over towards Abyss Street.
Wait, someone in chat is... Wait, Sylvia is pointing out there are 2 Herms in the Hollow Knight Discord. Herm, did you make a clone that was
No, there is somebody else in the Hollow Knight Discord who's named Herm. Not really sure. I
Aw.
guess they're just a different Herm, you know? They're living their truth, so I respect them. It's okay. I don't need to be the only Herm on the block. I am just me. So it's all good.
It's some interesting Twilight Zone stuff when you
Yeah.
see two Herms at once.
I am solidly with a lowercase h Herm. I am actually very opposed in real life to all capitalization. I crusade against it. And it looks like Water having a little trouble learning directions with that C dash. But is able to go and we're going to grab Howling Wraiths and turn it into Abyss Shriek. So now we have our main damage that we're going to be using against the Hollow Knight very soon.
Time to type all of the capitalized A in chat. Although Herm might be against capitalization, I strongly support the capitalization of Abyss Shriek.
Yes, I do not support any sort of capitalization, but it is what it is. Now we're going to be seeing that Abyss Climb, one of the most popular individual levels in the game. Folks have it optimized down to about 30 seconds these days. There are many different ways of going about it, but the issue is that hazard respawn can be quite the bully, and therefore you can have issues because it has to do with when you touch the floor. You can have a lot of issues with getting dunked into spikes and ending up a third of the way down from where you were. But it looks like pretty good from Water so far. Continue to just hop up. This is a really cool segment of the run just because it shows us utilize all of that movement we've picked up so far and put it all together in a really cool way. So nice Abyss Climb from Water right there.
Yeah, definitely. And I believe Water mentioned that they were having trouble with Abyss Climb earlier, but this is definitely some top-notch execution.
Yeah, for sure. Really nice. And now we're gonna be heading back to Basin. Through Basin, we're gonna be going to Dartmouth, and then over to the Hollow Knight. We're gonna wrap this party up. It's almost over.
Mm-hmm. And I believe this can still be a sub-hour run for Water, despite all the troubles we have
I've
finishing.
heard from somebody else a good rule of thumb is about 2 minutes from when they get out of the Dartmouth Stag, and so it looks like it'll be around sub-hour for Water, which is great, barring any sort of death THK, which can be tricky at times, but barring any sort of thing like that, that'll be about all. Water doing some hops here. Looks like going for, yeah, the Super Knight. It's fun, you can store a lot of inputs in the black egg door, and so you get sort of the Superman vibes, and are able to head in to the black egg in the most interesting way possible.
Yes, and may we just say that both Water and Cerp have been superhuman, super runners today with their determination and definitely pushing through despite some of the things.
Yes. Black egg, I guess it's a door, but we don't really knock on it, so that's why we don't have the knock-knock joke. Because if we did every single door, boy, would we have to have a lot of jokes every single run. And so we just don't say breakable walls aren't doors. I was about to say breakable doors aren't walls. I guess that's true, but I don't know where my head's going with that. Now we're fighting the Hollow Knight. We use Abyss Shriek here. With Shaman Shriek, Abyss Shriek is a multi-hit spell, much like Dive, and so with Shaman Shriek, all 4 hits of Abyss Shriek consecutively do 120 damage, which is the best you can get in the game behind a Cyclone Slash with Pure Nail. So really nice, and we see that second scream from the Hollow Knight puts him into that self-harm phase, which makes things a lot safer from here as the boss fight goes and takes a turn for the sad.
And I believe Water probably already finished because in real life they are in the chat, so I think we're just watching the...
Yeah, we are having... Right now we're witnessing Water on one mask, which is less than fun, but we do see a nice cheeky finish right there, and is able to get that GG. So big GG's for Water right there. Looks like it will be just around an hour. Whoa, I just had a really weird thing where it sort of lagged and it just looked like the flash there looked exactly 100005.
Oh,
The flash looked
wow.
exactly like the radiance, and I'd never seen that before. But that's quite interesting. And so yeah, just over an hour. Incredible. That is a beautiful time. Just a little bit off the perfect 1 hour, but we do love to see it. And so Serb and Water will be marking both of them as done, and we'll be inviting them in for an interview should they choose to participate.
Yeah. So, sir, I believe both runners are down for an interview. So yeah, we will
Let's
definitely be inviting
go.
them in shortly.
Yes. And feel free to put any questions you might have in the chat. Anything you'd like to shout out, that sort of thing. We're there. So
Yeah, what a game. What a run.
yeah, really, really quite the race today. Did you mark them, Virgil?
Oh, wait. I'm sorry.
Silly. It's all good.
My mind is definitely.
It's okay. It's in the end,
Otherwise-
it's Sunday afternoon. Yeah, we're working on marking folks as done. Virgil and I are just having our moment of blue screening our brains.
Yep, I'm
But we're
sorry.
getting there.
Both of them are in the setup.
All right, let's bring them in.
Oh, okay.
Hello, folks.
Hi, GG's.
GG.
Wow, that was an emotional roller coaster of a race. How are you folks feeling?
I won't lie, terrible.
Lol. Even worse. There was literally not a single thing I'm happy about with that race, and that includes the mid game. Like, even the mid game lost tons of time.
Really? You did claw back almost 2 minutes there.
I mean, that's still lost time to my own splits.
Wow.
Wow.
I don't even know why are fireball skips impossible. And why is Umu a shit?
Why does this game just want you dead? I felt like starting at Watcher Nights, there were just so many instances of RNG that screwed me over in little ways, but then added up to big time losses. In Deepness, I got a really strange wall cling, which actually caused me to fall into the spikes there. I don't know how that even
You
happened.
stood on the edge of the crack as the like hole started, so you had the like walking from that. It's the same as the sea heart skip.
Oh.
That's not
Wow.
yeah.
Knowledge. But yeah, Hollow Knight Death Simulator is not fun for us today.
Yeah,
Also-
I mean, in the end, this was tough, very tough.
I blame Umu having too thick of a hitbox. Seriously, stuck in the platform twice, and it's like, why?
Yeah, Umu was absolutely a jerk. On all fronts during this race. Holy cow! I mean, you've got to think of like I just wonder like in terms of least speedrun friendly bosses out there, Umu is taking home some prizes, I would say.
Oh, no question.
I mean, so I guess Water, did you feel like any part of the run, like was there a favorite part of the run for you?
I golded King Station, it looks like, by
Oh,
about
that's
3
wonderful.
seconds.
Nice.
Yeah, that Geo, we were talking. I don't. Were you folks listening into our comms or?
Yeah, I was in a pretty comfy geo position, so I didn't have to kill a lot of enemies.
Yeah, but wow, 3-second HK Glod. Massive congrats on that.
My early game was good up to Gorgeous Husk, and then it just kind of started falling apart.
Mood except before the early game. Like, already from the very start, actually, I started up taking 2 damage because I messed up the Aspid Arena, and then I ended up damage tanking that one Vent Fly over the IPA
Yeah.
Pocket.
The second
That was
golden.
everything from the start was actually kind of horrible outside of Grass Drop.
Yeah, I mean it was a brutal start. And I mean I just think that Virgil and I were incredibly impressed at, even if you lost time to your PB, we were incredibly impressed at the ways in which you were able to have that massive comeback and also just get over the mental hill that was that early game, because it was quite tough. Obviously, a lot of things didn't go your way, and we still commend you massively for that, even if you're not feeling as great, which is totally acceptable.
Yeah, you played super impressively. I was only able to catch glimpses, but what I saw looked really good.
Also imagine not failing Epogo, by the way.
I mean, the swag strats are definitely appreciated, and you
Yeah.
definitely showed some things that I have never seen before, so thank you for that.
Folks in
And-
chat were hyped, for sure.
And yeah, I think for water, something that we like to commend you about is the super clean cleanup at Grandmother's. You straight up went for it.
I saw Jen mention that in chat.
The Grandmother?
Grandmother cleanup. I
Oh
didn't
yeah,
see it, but I
that
saw
did go
chat
pretty
about it.
well. I think one Gruzzer survived.
Yeah, it was really good.
That's better than I did.
You can just consider, I mean, you are water with flavor, but you could also just you could mop things up. You could become a janitor in Hollow Knight life. So who knows? Have a backup career in your future.
Yep.
Okay, folks. So if there are no further shout-outs or anything of the like, we will wrap it up here. Massive, massive thanks to Speed Gaming, not only for the beautiful setup and beautiful work as always, but also for providing those syncs on demand. Yeah, real shout-outs to Lysander for being there throughout the whole race. Big ups, but also shout-outs
cool.
to Virgil and the runners and chat for being incredibly cute.
Also shoutouts to Hornet Parries.
Yeah.
Shoutouts to Hornet's mom. Oh wait, never mind.
Adios.
Have a
no.
great day, everybody.
I'm really concerned as to where water's going. But yeah, I think we will.
Wait, Water, would you like us to?
Hollow Nest Crown, obviously.
You can prevent it from being seen, but you can't prevent the deed from being done.
Yes,
I'm
I
going
think
to-
that we will
Donate
give...
now to not kill Amila.
It's
We'll
too
give
late.
Mila
It's
some
too late
privacy.
already.
Oh no.
Yeah, I feel like we're just
Save the
on the stream
miners.
delay. No,
10
Water,
seconds to
don't do
go.
it. Don't do it. No. No.
Oh my gosh. Well, I think that I just need a moment to reflect and wipe that from my memory. But we'll wish all of you a fabulous afternoon. Have the best time, and we'll see you soon on another episode of Hollow Knight All Skills Racing.
Everyone, and bye-bye.
Bye.